Hey guys, Dash from Ninjaland Games here. Today we got a Bloodborne tips and tricks video. It's also pretty much a beginner's guide for Bloodborne. If you're new to the Dark Souls or to the Soul series, this is going to be a really good video to get started with. This game is amazing. I'm having a really good time with it. And so I'm really hoping that other people are going to be able to have a good time with it as well, because it's just a really amazing game to experience, because there's a lot of new kind of mechanics that they put in their games. And so I'm making this video hopefully to give you the tips and tricks that you need to get started and to really get going in the game. First off, a really good tip is to just read the manual of the game. It comes digitally on PS4. You highlight the game, you look for the things to the right of it, and one of them is the manual to the game. You can also find it online. They don't do a lot of tutorials or kind of guides within the game as much, so when you go read the manual, you're going to get a lot of helpful tips and the controls and stuff. When you're creating your character, you're going to have some options to pick from the background history. That's just the starting stats, so as you level up in the game, you're going to be able to increase those as you go. So I recommend that you start off with the Lone Survivor if you're new to the Soul series. The Lone Survivor has the highest vitality, which is basically your health. So that's going to give you a little bit heads up on the bosses. It's going to give you a little heads up on all the enemies at the very beginning of the game. Because in order to level up, you're going to have to beat the first boss, or I think at least die at the first boss. So I suggest using the Lone Survivor. You can really use any of the other ones that you want to. Just know that you're going to have to level up parts of it as you go. Okay, so when you start the game, there's going to be a werewolf, and you can run past the werewolf, but basically you're gonna have to die. So you die at the werewolf, but it's gonna take you to the Hunter's Dream. The Hunter's Dream is basically the hub world for the game, and some of it's explained in the manual, so I suggest checking that out. But you just can go around and explore the Hunter's Dream. There's actually a little tutorial area in the field. If you go around and read the notes, it tells you different controls for your guy. Okay, another thing I found out that the camera sensitivity was turned up way too high, so I turned down the camera sensitivity with the camera. It made it a lot smoother. So I just turning the camera sensitivity down. You just play around with it and see how you like it. Okay, so next thing, when in the Hunter's Dream, you're going to be able to pick a weapon. There's a couple notes that are on the staircase. The cane whip, the cane sword, or the cane whip, that one's a little bit more advanced. It's got some range, but it's not as strong as the other ones. I suggest picking either the axe or the switchblade. They're a lot stronger as well. You know, you can pick whichever one you want. And then as for the gun, both of the guns are good. In the Hunter's Dream and also in little areas that are easy, you want to practice using combos and practice using dodge mechanics. In this game, they actually added, if you hold R2 down, you'll get a charge attack, and the charge attack actually will stagger the enemy. When enemy attacks you, there's a certain moment where you can shoot them with your gun and it's going to stagger the enemy. When the enemy is staggered, you want to run up right in front of the enemy and you press R1. Your guy will go into an animation, kind of rip into the enemy and pull on them. It's called a visceral attack. It does a lot of damage in this game. It's really important that you learn how to stagger enemies at the right time, and that takes a lot of experimentation. You can just shoot them at different points of their attack to figure out where their stagger point is. You can even do it on bosses. It's a really powerful tactic that you want to learn in this game. With the gun, because the gun's so important in this game, they put a mechanic in this game, and I don't see very many people using it online, but it's really, really good. It's called blood bullets. You press up on the D-pad, the directional pad, you'll take part of your life total and you'll turn it into 5 bonus bullets, and it has a little red 5 by your bullets. They work just like normal bullets, so you pretty much have infinite ammo as long as you have life total. Also, a new system in this game is when you get hit, you have that little life bar. Right when you get hit, you have a certain amount of time to recover that health if you attack the enemy. Also, keep swinging your sword after the enemy is falling down. While he's falling down, if you keep swinging on him, you will still get life back. What you want to do, so you find a weak enemy, basically he's going to become like your way to recharge your life, and you recharge your blood bullets. Right when you hit your blood bullets, you can recover that life, and by doing that, you pretty much have infinite ammo. You won't be using your quicksilver shots as much. So yeah, both those mechanics, the life recovery and the blood bullet, are really good to learn how to do. You can also, just use a blood bullet and then a blood vial to get your life back. In this game, the blood vials, recovery item, sometimes you'll get different items and they'll have a little green symbol next to them because you already have them maxed out. Those are actually being sent to your supply. When they're in your supply points, let's say you die and you restart back at a light post, it'll actually pull from your supply and fill them up for you. Stocking those up is going to be huge, especially as you go throughout the game. Let me just talk about strategy of the game. When you go into a first area, you want to just take it slow, keep your eye out for different landmarks in the territory, and really get familiar with the area, because you're going to be going through the area at different times to level and also just to explore. You really want to take things slow at first. You're eventually going to get to the boss of the area, and before you even get to the boss of the area, you always want to check for shortcuts. There's almost always a shortcut back to the lamppost before you fight a boss. By doing that, when you have a lot of souls and go level up, it will respawn enemies. That's why you want to find the shortcuts. So when you find those shortcuts, then you won't have to fight the enemies again. Also, I mean, if you get familiar with the area so much so, and you can run past areas as well. So now let's talk about fighting the bosses. So that's pretty much how the game goes. You're going to explore the area, fight enemies, find shortcuts back to the lamppost, take the shortcuts back to fight the boss. Each boss has weaknesses, and each boss has different attacks that they're going to use on you. The bosses do have counterpoints where you're going to be able to shoot them and get a counterpoint on them. You look for those. Also, fire seems to be really powerful on some of these early bosses, so coming in with Molotov cocktails is going to be important. One of the biggest things with fighting a boss is going in with a teammate. When you have 10 insight or more, there's a well that's in Hunter's Dream. When you have 10 insight or more, you can purchase items using your insight from it. Small Renaissance Bell. So a small Renaissance Bell allows you to team up with your friends. In the options menu, in the network options, you'll be able to set a password so that you and your friends are only able to link up. But basically, one of you is going to ring the bell to call the other person in, and then the other person is going to ring the smaller bell to go into their game. And you need to be close to each other. If you read the manual, it'll be able to explain all of this. But you need to be close to each other when that happens. Having a second person in a boss fight is really helpful because the boss will be focused on them. It's going to be a lot easier fighting the bosses. Now, one thing that I do is I'll go through the area, I'll find the shortcuts back to the lamppost, get to the boss. Then I'll actually put out my Renaissance Bell so that I'll be able to help other people fight their boss first. So I go in, I help other people fight their boss a couple times so you can see what the boss's attacks are, you can see what he's doing, and if you die in someone else's game, you keep your blood echoes on you. And that's really important for leveling. So then you're going to go back and you're going to level up. And one thing in this game, if you keep dying at a boss, then you most likely, you need to level up more. You need to get stronger weapons. You need to go into your Hunter's Dream, and you're going to go to your workshop, and you're going to upgrade your weapon. You need to buy the best armor you can get, level up your character as much as you can. If you do all that, the bosses should not be extremely difficult. You're most likely going to be okay. This is kind of how you can do really well at this game. You want to go in and you help people. At the same time, when you go in and help people, you're getting a ton of blood echoes. And you can use those blood echoes to level up your character defense. Every time you level up, you get 1 point on defense, no matter what attribute you put it into. And I also suggest, near the beginning of the game, you put a lot of your blood echoes into your vitality. If a boss does a big combo on you, he's not going to kill you. You're going to be able to dodge away, get your life back. Dodging is really powerful. You can dodge all day long. And so you can just take your time, get away from the boss, and then come at him and hit him when he's weak. I'm going to have some boss guides, and you can also look on boss guides online, as there's a bunch of other people posting them right now. But there's a lot of little helpful tips for the bosses. Each boss has different weaknesses that you want to exploit. Go through each area methodically, find shortcuts back to the lamppost, help other people fight the boss, help other people go through their area, and then level up your character because you won't lose blood echoes. As you do that, you're just going to slowly progress. Please check back soon to Ninjaland Games. I hope you subscribe and like this video. Hope you have a great time playing Bloodborne. I know it's kind of has a little steep learning curve, but if you do what I said, if you follow the tutorials and look at the manual, I think you're going to be okay. You're going to actually find that the game is not as hard as people are saying it is. Hopefully I gave you some tips, and we'll see you next time on Ninjaland Games.